Pre-commission meeting to order at 8:03 a.m. Any questions about the consent agenda? All right. Yes.
On number 10, can you just clarify how much, or we're auctioning off vehicles, I'm assuming, on that one?
We will put those on the GovDeals website for auction.
Okay, so is that all we're auctioning off, our cars?
Yes, ma'am. The Crown Victoria and then the 2010 Chevrolet 1500.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions on consent agenda? All right. 12, discussion regarding options for search of a new city manager. I know there's been some, I've followed up with the city attorney since that time, since our last discussion on this. Do you have any updates you'd like to share with all of us as commission?
I don't have any updates. I know Gerard is trying to meet with all of you to firm up the criteria each of you are searching for. And I'm meeting with him after this meeting today. So I may have more of a report on Tuesday, but I don't have anything for you today.
Got it. I think Commissioner Warwick, you're the only one that has to finish meeting with him that today.
Yeah, I meet him after we get done with this in the budget workshop.
Okay. All right. So we should have more information on Tuesday in regards to what is the consensus of the commission regarding the criteria that we're looking for and possibly the process, things of that nature regarding the search for a new city manager. All right. 13, discussion of forensic audit, scope of working committee.
Yes, I'm still asking for an audit. I did find out that there's a state organization that will provide an audit free. And I do not have the name of that organization with me. Personally, I would like to see it go back to 21 when Margot Anderson left, and do it year by year. And if they don't find anything, then we stop. But I would really like it to entail purchasing procedures, how those are done and how they've been done, and who signs off on all that. That's it.
Yeah. All right. Any other input, Ms. Myers?
I will say that depending on the scope of the price, and I'm not familiar with the state agency that will do it for free, but I am aware of the Florida statute that requires the audit committee to prepare an RFP for any audit services. The city commission sits as the audit committee. So if this procurement exceeds, or if we estimate it will exceed $35,000 and therefore needing a competitive bid, we will need to prepare one for this commission to approve to start that procurement process, because you sit as the audit committee. So you will have to approve the substance of that RFP before we put it out to bid. And I want to just make you aware, there is a Florida statute that requires a specific process for procurement here in addition to your own policies.
Okay.
I think we got to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we need to be very specific on what we want on that, because if you don't put it on there, they're not going to do it, and then you might get disappointed. So, yeah, you got to be very specific on what you want them to look for and that.
Well, we definitely want the purchasing procedures looked at.
Is it a specific department or a type of purchase you're concerned about? Only those over $50,000, over those over $200,000, or anything?
Go ahead, Pat. I'm just looking at who's signing off on them and what they're, for example, Bobby found a place in Freeport, which I have no problem with, by the way. I didn't mean to indicate that the other day, that worked on the clock. And that clock was $51,000. We only paid 24. And when I called them, they had no idea that they had never paid for that we had not paid for the other 24. And that took place in 2024 in April. So it's stuff like that. I don't know. I have no idea if it's done intentionally or not. But I think we need to look at that kind of thing and see who signed off on it.
May I clear up just a little bit of that? The company presented us a deposit invoice, which was paid at the time that the invoice was presented to the city. We only received the second invoice this week. So it wasn't the city not paying an invoice we had.
Right.
They had not presented the final invoice to the city.
Right.
That will be paid in the next check run.
Thank you.
Ms. Tinder, I was just going to say that city manager and Kiki, are we not budgeting for a procurement person?
Yes, sir, we are.
And
We're actively recruiting right now.
And that procurement person will probably take on the duties of securing the purchases and everything in the manner in which you want it done, and everybody else. So I hope that we can lean on, an individual or someone with a position that their priority is procurement. So that would handle purchasing stuff and
I guess
I don't know the technical rules. I'm just spouting off.
I guess in regards to procurement, if I recall, when we were in the trailers, didn't we have a procurement person on staff when we were in the trailers?
So we do
We had
have
a
a
budget
procurement
manager.
clerk,
Okay.
which is the person in finance who does the approvals of the requisitions and stuff. Now, currently, the purchasing policy is $3,500 and below at the department head level, $3,500 to $35,000 is at the assistant city manager level, and then $35,000 and above is commission approval and city manager.
Okay.
Good for you.
We continue to have that procurement clerk.
Okay.
We're adding a procurement manager to handle the RFPs, the RFQs,
In your time.
that sort of thing.
Got it.
Because all that responsibility, or a lot of that responsibility falls on the department heads right now, right?
Currently, yes.
Right. And so, they don't do that all the time, so you probably want someone who's a subject matter expert to be able to do that.
From what I'm understanding, the audit is mostly to make sure procedures are followed as far as commission approval, city manager approval, department head approval. Nothing was obtained without quotes or like that.
Yes, that's basically it. And common sense tells me that when you have a addition or change in the commission, there should be some sort of audit to clear or protect the incoming or whatever
So
commission.
you have the annual audit that is presented to the
And who does that? The same auditing firm?
James Moore.
Okay.
All right. Anything else on the discussion regarding the forensic audit? All right, discussion regarding establishing city clerk position, reporting to the commission, review to separating city clerk duties from the office of city manager. Have had a few citizens to reach out to me to ask if this is something that the commission would discuss with us at this time, being at the juncture of hiring a new city manager. Would this be the time for us to look at actually separating those duties? It's a discussion we've had previously. Previously, one of the things we discussed was how does this reflect in our charter? I have spoke briefly with the city attorney about what that would look like from a charter perspective. So she's done some research on that. She'll give us a few pointers, but we can have more deep discussion on Tuesday.
So basically, if you wish to establish a city clerk position that reports to you, that's creating essentially a new charter office position that will require a change to the charter. The commission can initiate that change to the charter. I haven't seen your charter review committee resolution to know what their requirements are. You likely have, I don't know if they need to be involved in the process for a commission initiated review, or if their scope is limited to the every 5-year cycle. I don't know that. So, but I do know that you can initiate it if you want to, and it is probable that it will need to involve them at some point, at least for a discussion and maybe a recommendation as well. but the statutes authorize you to do that. It would require an election. You have to a referendum to have the voters approve that. If you decide to move forward, I will speak with the supervisor about whether you can piggyback a November election or whether you'll have to do a standalone election. How that happens will dictate how much a special election costs. But that's down the road.
Now, would we be able to, I guess, appoint someone in a temporary position until we actually change the charter, or until that would actually go before the public with the charter change?
No, it would be contrary until you get that charter change. Your charter requires all officers of the city to be subordinate to the city manager. So it would be in conflict. Having a pending ordinance that's out there may give you some color of authority. I'm not sure it gives you actual authority.
That was my question. Can we, if we agree and it's recommended by the charter committee and the commission agrees, and to offset the cost of an election, could we pass an ordinance, recommending to the point that we can put it on a ballot, and then have the position created, and just do it by ordinance until we have it in the form of a ballot, if everyone agrees. Like the charter committee would recommend, if no one's at odds about it. So that would be, would that work for a short time?
I would still be wary of you hiring someone and putting someone in that position prior
Under ordinance?
to the citizens blessing that vote.
Right.
The
Well,
worst
that's
case scenario is you
no.
hire someone and then the charter amendment does not go through. You had no authority.
You would run it through the charter, get their feedback first. You could poll the citizens and do whatever before an election, and see if it's a just thing.
And I don't feel that it should be a position that's appointed. I think they should have a referendum or something where they're elected. I mean, is that what you're talking about? Just appointing a clerk?
Well, I am talking about creating a new charter position that reports
Just
directly
like city
to you.
manager at the
Yes.
pleasure of the commission thing.
Yeah, I get that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Generally, those positions are appointed because the commission wants the control over who holds that role. I'm not aware of any city clerks that are elected. That's not to say you couldn't do it. I'm just not. I don't know that that's the norm.
County clerks.
What did you say? I missed what you
I
said.
just said that city clerks aren't normally elected. Sometimes county.
Yeah,
Sometimes county clerks.
Yeah, county clerks are a political office.
Yep.
So anyway, it can be done. I will say that your charter only speaks to a city manager. It's your code that speaks to the combined city manager clerk position. So the cleanup of your code to separate the duties of the manager and the clerk, that can be done by the commission. That can be done while you're waiting for the referendum to be approved if you are. And we can also make it effective upon the approval of the referendum so that you don't then have two versions of it. Code that are inconsistent. But there are numerous provisions in your code, not just in chapter 2, but throughout 14, 26, 30, 42, 50, 54, 62, 70, and even your LDC that specifically give some powers to the combined city manager clerk position. Curiously, in 2 places in your code, you do have duties that are already assigned exclusively to a city clerk. Curious. So anyway, we can clean that up. That does not require a referendum, but I don't know that you'd want it to be effective until the referendum is. So it's possible. It is procedural, but it's possible.
So the first step would be that we would request to put it before our charter committee?
You can do the first reading of an ordinance. You can direct me to draft an ordinance that changes the charter to create a city clerk position. Or you can call up the charter committee and direct them to consider charter amendments to establish a city clerk position. Do it either way. You can take the lead or you can delegate it.
All right. Any other questions or discussion on that? moving on to number 15, discussion and possible approval for train storage facility. Any questions on that? All right, number 16, discussion and possible approval to authorize mayor to sign Amendment 3 for the CDBG disaster relief or disaster recovery hazard mitigation grant program for 10th Street. Any questions about that?
Could you just kind of give us an overview?
Yes, sir. It's just extending the deadline on this one. This should be the last extension for this grant as it was approved and construction is starting on it. But it's just to keep up with the final dates for CDB.
Thanks.
All right, 17, awarding the bid to Legislative Stormwater Improvements Phase 1 to Emerald Coast Site Construction for $190,000. Questions?
Yeah, can you, it sounds like to me reading this that it's not going to include everything that was originally put out.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain how all that?
Yes, sir. A couple things on this one. So this is the appropriation we got a few years back. We got $1 million legislative appropriation to work on stormwater outfalls. There were 56 total outfalls we looked at. We didn't design all 56. I've got I printed off the maps of Phase 1A and 1B just to give you guys to refresh your memory. So the first phase we bid out did 3 outfalls. This phase we had to get some permits on. We did not get those permits until March. Got them. We bid it out. We have $223,000 left in the appropriation that we can request for reimbursement. Some of that $223,000 includes some. So once we receive bids, we were only able to award 1 outfall. It is staff's recommendation to award outfall number 23. That's the one that needs the most work, and there's a photo of that in your packet as well of what the outfall looks like today. So we had that project will be $190,000, and then we've got some engineering, and we'll submit for the reimbursement for the final $223,000.
So the question I have is, Emerald Coast Site Instructions amount of $329,791, but we're only spending $190,288.
Yes, sir. So their overall bid for outfall 20, outfall 10 was the 323. 850 Construction was actually the low bidder overall. However, we're only going to award 1 outfall, and when we do that, Emerald Coast Site Construction is the low bidder for outfall 23.
Okay, so we just decrease the scope of work.
Yes, sir.
To fit the price.
The amount of money we have left.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm going to pass these down too, just so everyone has a copy of the front page. There is 1A. The green highlighted ones are the ones we completed the last phase, and then the next phase or the next page is the remaining outfalls that were in this.
We'll add that the bid form requested the bids per outfall. So there was a bid, and then so a bid for outfall 23, a bid for outfall 10, and then the total lump sum price. The bid form also expressly noted that the city could reserve the right to award any portion of the project.
So is this all the money? Will there be other work?
There is more work to do, yes, sir, but we are out of money. Once this is complete, we have $223,000 left that we can get reimbursed for. This and the engineering will wipe that out. So we have shovel-ready projects that we can submit legislative appropriation requests,
Right.
other grant requests, or this we can decide to fund out of pocket.
Would this fall under resiliency money or anything like that?
Some of these are resilient projects that we could apply for, yes.
Okay, good.
Approval of design option for James E. Rogers Park. Questions?
And we talked about this a little bit in the budget workshop right before we had to abruptly leave. But this is a FEMA project. The design is done. We designed 2 different options. Staff met with residents on site as well as several have called. They come in. So a couple different options here. One is to rebuild James Rogers Park, upgraded with basketball courts, pickleball courts, playground. And another option is to build it without the pickleball courts, but with all the other features. The residents have requested pickleball courts. However, it is against staff's recommendation to put pickleball courts in this neighborhood because of the noise, the crowds that they attract, and the amount of vehicles that would be parked on the roadways, causing issues in the future. So staff recommends the design option without the pickleball just because of the location of the park. Or the 428 money can be used to put towards the city hall construction. However, it is staff's recommendation to move forward with constructing a park as the residents have desired.
And they want pickleball?
Some residents do want pickleball, some do not.
This is the Bel Air neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
What we do, we knock on doors or we just say, hey?
We had meetings there at the park.
We did.
Yes, sir. And then Mr. Ferris, and I'm sure Justin as well, gets several calls a month on the status of James Rogers Park and what's going to go there.
My main concern is the intersection right there at Publix is already one of the worst ones in the city. So if we add the traffic, as we all know, people love pickleball and a lot of people show up for pickleball. And as soon as we add pickleball courts there, that's just going to add more mess to the traffic in that
You
area.
could get out 3 other ways.
Trust me, I've told people that a million times, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
But people, for some reason, don't want to go out those 3 ways, and I don't get it. I do.
You can go out to 26th Street real easy from
That's
there.
that's the route I go. I go to 26, but
Because that's back in Bel Air. It's not up near that intersection. But that is a messed up spaghetti junction right there.
I know this was originally brought up because of the stormwater issues there. So with this design, is this going to take care of the stormwater problem that's in that corner there?
It is going to help with the stormwater problem. It's not going to resolve 100% of the issues there because of this ditch collects everything south on Harrison and Jinks Avenue, and then it flows and has to cross under 390. So the problem is the ditch gets full and backs up into the road there. So this pond will help collect some of that, and it will be a heavier rainfall that it can handle before it comes out in the roadway, but it will not solve 100% of water ever coming into the roadway.
Well, I mean, roadway is one thing. Houses is a different thing.
Yes, sir. And the house that's across from that driveway there, that house has flooded in the past. However, that house has not flooded in the past 5 years since work has been done in this area.
Okay.
Put extra drains in over there too, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And not only that, I know there's 390, there was some work there that kind of caused some issues at one time. I don't remember when that was. I think it was early when I did my first term. And it seemed like since they've done that, it's helped quite a bit.
Right. They have installed those box culverts there, and it flows much better under 390.
Oh, okay.
So we would encourage anyone from Bel Air to be at the meeting to tell us how they feel about this park and what the finality is going to be. So Bel Air residents, please, let's hear from you.
I'm of the opinion, and I'm glad staff brought it up to us, that you put pickleball courts in there, you're going to get a lot of complaints because it does make a noise that just going to be, the neighbors around are going to
It's a
constantly hear.
unique sound.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And there's 11 parking spots there. You could have 4 to 8 vehicles just in 2 pickleball matches of people that waiting to play. So that the parking lot could fill up very quick, and then people are just going to start piling up down the road in front of people's homes.
Pickleball fights. Love them.
All right. Number 19, resolution for extending the City of Lynn Havens Finance Review Committee. One of the primary changes that we've made to this, based on citizen feedback and also for clarity, you'll see in section 3 on page 53 that although the committee is still going to have 7 members, the city manager and deputy finance director will only serve on committee as non-voting members. I think initially when we established the finance review committee and the debt review committee, that was think that was our understanding, but it wasn't necessarily clarified. So still have 7 members appointed by the commission, but city manager and deputy finance will be non-voting members for that. And also this will extend through the 2026, 2027 budget adoption. So at that time, it'll need to be brought back to the commission in order for it to get extended again. So any other questions on this resolution?
If we wanted to permanently have this committee, what would need to be done? Is that a charter review change?
You would just change your sunset provision.
Okay. Indefinite? Okay.
Until terminated by the city commission.
Okay.
I mean, it's up to you. If you want it to be permanent, you could do an ordinance that codifies them and includes them in the code as a permanent board of the city.
Right.
But preliminarily, it's just revising your sunset provision.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Now, is that something we want to consider now or something to consider in the future?
You know, my opinion, I would like to keep it permanent.
I mean, I'm fine with it because we can always terminate it later if we don't like it, which I don't foresee you not liking it, but, you know.
Right. I mean, it's been extended each time we brought it back, so it continues to be extended and put back into to working order. All right. So, city attorney, is that something we can do within this resolution?
I can change the sunset provision here and then start working on an ordinance if you'd like me to, but I can at least change the sunset provision for Tuesday.
Yes, if you could do that. And is everyone okay with her working on an ordinance for that? All right, and if you could begin working on the ordinance as well. And number 19, approval for updating Mr. Lightfoot's compensation to reflect his new duties as interim city manager. City attorney.
So he has taken on additional duties since his appointment, and staff would like to recommend that you approve additional compensation to him for those duties. You can do that in one of 2 ways, with a straight percentage increase. I believe I don't see a car in my package, but I believe a car was prepared with 2 options for you to consider as a means to provide that additional compensation. Does everyone have this car? I don't know why, I just don't see it in mine. So you can increase his rate of pay to that of the previous city manager is option 1. Option 2, which is recommended by staff, is to increase his current annual salary by 20% so that he is at least 5% above the highest paid employee while he is serving as interim city manager.
All right, discussion.
Oh, one more thing. It's also recommended that a car allowance of $450 a month be also approved as an additional benefit with this additional compensation. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Do you already have a city car that you use?
No, ma'am. Currently, I turn in a mileage report every month.
Okay.
All right, other discussion?
So with the car allowance, there would that would replace the mileage report, right?
And how much car allowance are we talking? $450?
Which is lower than the previous, right?
Yeah,
You increased her car allowance, I think, to 600 or 700.
$750, I thought.
It was
I think we increased to $750. And that was after, I don't know, a few years it being at $450, I think it was. Yeah.
All right, well,
It stopped at 19.
mine does as well.
There's
CJ, several
a-
of our packages the backup seems to stop at item number 19.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for whatever that's worth.
Oh, we haven't got the first page. Got this.
We're missing 20 and 21. And I don't know if there was one for 21.
Yes, there is.
Is there?
Pins right here. Just don't have the cars. Okay.
It can be fixed before Tuesday. I mean,
Yeah, we'll get the cars in before Tuesday's meeting.
Okay, so there is no,
Right, they were none in this packet. We'll get them sent out this afternoon.
okay.
They were prepared. They just, for whatever reason, didn't get included.
We're talking dollars or percentages, so I don't know.
So, two ways. Option one is to increase the interim city manager's rate of pay to that of the previous city manager. Ms. Gaynor's hourly rate was $79.92 per hour. Option two is to increase his current salary by 20%. That would increase his hourly rate to $64.84 an hour.
Now, what would that look like if we put that on an annual scale?
Okay, so, all right, under option one, increasing to Vicky's rate would be based on a $166,240 annual salary. Option two is based on a $135,580 annual salary. Again, this information will be in the report you get.
And that include the second option, and that annual amount includes the fuel car allowance, or no?
The car allowance is completely
Okay.
a separate benefit and consideration.
Right, thanks.
CJ was asking, who does she get the car from? The car for that.
I believe Jennifer prepared
Yeah,
it.
I sent it to Amy and Chris, and it probably just didn't get forwarded all the way for
Okay.
a review, which is. And as an added note, the reason to consider this is it's called, he will be working out of classification. With the additional duties, he is working in a higher level class, which should come with an additional compensation. The research shows either you take them to whatever the existing or the prior position was making, though that has some considerations in terms of years of experience, et cetera, or you do a percentage above, so it's compensated as if they've gotten a promotional raise.
What was the city manager's salary prior to the last merit increase?
It was $166,000 and some change. I don't have the,
No, but we did a prior,
It was like around
like 140.
148.
yeah,
no,
148.
actually about 153 after the last
It
COLA.
was 154 and change
Thank you.
before that increase.
Okay. So contractually, what was it? Because that's what we were looking at. That's the number we were given, what was on the contract.
The number in the contract, I believe, was 143, but she had received COLAs on top of that.
Right.
So let's,
It ended up at 154-ish.
Right.
I don't know, let's start the guy at 140.
Is there a standard or measurement we've used in the past in regards to percentages for interim city managers?
With the prior city manager, it was a 15% increase. I weighed in current leadership staff and also cost of living. There is not a standard nationally, and that's why part of the one-on-ones is to determine ranges and locations. There's so many different factors that go into setting a compensation and a compensation package. The car allowance was added because the city manager is expected to make more trips, to go to more meetings, both before work, after work, that sort of thing. But it's up to the discretion and the decision of the commission.
This sounds very petty, but like, for example, the thing you just went to in Chicago last week, was that to learn more about city City manager job or?
Utilities conference.
That was the annual Public Works Conference I attend every year.
Oh.
I'm actually on the Emergency Management Committee, so I go, we have our committee meeting Saturday, and then the conference starts Sunday.
Okay, thank you. And you won't consider free vacations and lunch, right?
I think that's against that purchasing policy again.
Yeah, I hear you.
No such thing as a free lunch.
All right,
what
any
they
other
say.
questions on this or any other further discussion?
Well, we have to agree on something, so let's do it here.
That's what Tuesday is for.
Oh,
Decisions can't be made at this meeting, sorry.
yeah.
I
want
think
the-
you just wanted us to have a consensus of the number, but yeah, we're not going to
I
make a
can
decision.
adjust the car as well if you need me to.
Bucking for 140 in a car.
All right, well,
You guys will knock me down, but that puts him in the ballpark. I mean, it's less than what the contract was on the last city manager and gives him, you know, a decent salary.
And where did you say we'll get the car?
It's his car. He's getting an allowance.
It's not a vehicle car, it's a commission activity report, which will identify the issue, a background of the issue, and the reasoning behind any of the staff recommendations.
Okay.
all right. And discussion and approval of updated letter of engagement for city attorney.
Oh, yes, this is a proposal to amend the 2018 engagement letter the city has with my firm. It does two things. It increases the hourly rates for partners from $250 to $300 an hour, and it would name me as the primary city attorney with Kevin and Rob Jackson as my backup.
Amy, do you remember what we started out at?
$250 was the rate in 2018.
2018 was 250.
All right, any other questions on that?
So one of the things I've been looking at is not just this one, but all the other service contracts. How often do we look at them? Are they just open-ended? Or do we look at it and put it out for bid or RFQ every so many years? So like, for instance, the engineering firms. When was the last time? I remember you told me.
The engineering firms have been in place since 2015.
2015, so it's been there for 10 years. So should we look at these service contracts as every so many years, we should come back to us, determine whether we want to renew it or put it out for RFQ or RFP or put it out for bid?
Yeah, that'd be a great thing that either a clerk or a procurement person could do for us.
Right.
Yeah, I think that could be good. Now with your firm, I believe you all did go. I think they did go out as an RFQ and came back.
Oh God,
It
it
was
was
in the-
before we got elected the first time.
So I know we were in the trailers when that happened. So it was after Michael, because Jeff Carter was city attorney, and then I think you all were hired after him.
Hello, Jeff, yes.
That was probably 2020, 2019, somewhere around there.
I started in September of 2020, and Jeff Carter was still acting at the time.
Okay.
But it was shortly,
Okay,
somewhere
2020.
after that, that the RFQ was done for the attorneys.
Okay, my
5 years, yeah.
regret, my mistake.
No problem. I'm just to Commissioner Warwick's point. Like, how many years should we go before we actually review that again? So, so at this point, it's been 5 years with your firm. So is that something we want to do every 5 years?
So for auditors, it's generally 3 to 5 is what the statute contemplates. For architects and engineers, it's usually 7. For professional services like the attorney, it's completely discretionary. There's no state law that says what that turnaround or periodic review period is. It's absolutely up to you.
Okay. Which leads me another question, but I want to ask it after we're done here.
All right. So I think every 5 years sounds like a good medium number
I think so.
To review those. So
I mean, I think it's a good idea because if you keep it open-ended, it just puts the vendor kind of unlaxed, you know what I mean? So, and it creates competition.
is that something that you want us to start doing this year? For those that we've maybe had more than 3 years, to start reviewing those this year, or more than 5 years, start bringing those service contracts back for review.
Yeah, I would like to start looking at it. I don't know if there's some service contracts that are like sole source. Is there any examples where it would be a bad idea to do it every 5 years?
Nothing comes to mind right offhand. I mean, whenever you change a provider for anything, there is a gap or a learning curve bringing a new vendor in. If a new vendor is selected, we could bring a list of all of our current service contracts that the commission has approved that are active to you all, and then you can go through them and decide to renew, to re-advertise, or
I mean, is there a disadvantage where if they have a certain rate, and once you renew it, you're going to lose that rate, and it wouldn't be worth doing? You know what I'm saying?
most certainly if you renew a contract, it's going to go up. I mean, very seldom do they ever go down. So it is very likely if you advertise any of our contracts that the prices are going to increase.
Yep. Yep.
So I guess that's what I'm trying to find out is if that is a good idea to do every 5 years for the service contracts, all the service contracts, or only certain ones, or what.
And we may review it and not necessarily advertise it. We may review it and say, hey, we're good with this, and just,
That's true.
because it may depend on what does the service look like that we've received in those 5 years. Right. So if we have the contract and, hey, we haven't been very pleased with the service over that period of time, then we probably would be in the best interest to maybe re-advertise. But if we're pleased with it, then we
Don't have to renew it. We just say, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
May I add just a small bit of information here? The finance department in itself has 2 service contracts, one with banking and one with audit. Both of those agreements were signed with a certain amount of years with an option to extend a certain amount of years. So that's typically how our service contracts work.
Got it.
I don't know if this is the proper time to ask or not. I remember being a big part of this whole thing when we had an outfit from Santa Rosa come over and your firm. Is it accurate to say that your firm still represents all of the municipalities in Bay County?
No, we do not represent. We do not represent Panama City Beach, and we do not represent Panama City.
Okay.
We don't represent Mexico Beach.
Okay.
We don't represent Parker. So
So it's just us in Callaway
Springfield.
and Springfield. Okay, thanks.
I don't see a negative to just reviewing. I think it's always good to review, but like the mayor said, doesn't mean we have to decide to put out an RFQ or anything like that. But it is, the more data we have, the better.
Right.
So yeah, Mr. Lightfoot, if you could provide that for us.
The list of current contracts we have for services.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then I guess provide the data on how long we've been in contract with them, or we've been receiving their services. Like when was the start date of that particular contract? So to give us an idea of if it's in the time frame for us to review.
Okay. Would you like that as another item on the agenda, or just do it under the city manager report, or?
I guess just share it with us for the meantime.
Okay.
And then that way it gives us time to review it and see from there, I guess.
Yeah, if you could, I guess that'd be part of the city manager report, and then
Then we'll get you a packet, and then you can review between next meeting and the first meeting in September to make a decision.
right.
Okay, yes, sir.
And I guess, and I'm sure you'll do this, but also notating like what Ms. Roman mentioned, if there are particular contracts that have actual term limit on it, like, we're in contract with you until this particular time, versus those that are open-ended. So,
Yes, sir. Okay. Perfect.
anything else for further discussion before we move on? Before we conclude and go into budget?
So one thing I wanted to bring up, and this is why I bring up the service contracts, was the audit agency that we have. I brought this up before, and I'm under the opinion that the audit agency should change every 5 years. And anything you read online that is a recommendation that you should periodically change them because it keeps the integrity of it. There's a lot of advantages to it. So I got the contracts for James Moore, right? And I was like, why not remember voting on this? And it was back in April 2024. And it was a letter of engagement, and it was renewed. So aren't those required to come to the commission? Because I looked online, I looked at the agendas, I couldn't find it anywhere. I looked through my emails, I couldn't find it anywhere. I thought maybe I missed something.
So we renewed them for how long?
So this one was April 2024, so it takes us out till September 2028. Well, it'll be the fiscal year, so I guess it would be 2029, if I read this right. So it'll be 5 years. But my thing is, we've already had them for 5 years.
Yeah, we're supposed to put it out to bid for every 5 years.
Well, either that or we decide to extend it if we wanted to keep them.
Well, when we brought them in, that was the consensus of the commission at that time. I remember us, if you got to go back to when they came in, and I know it was suggested and spoke about amongst the commission that we were going to look at changing them every 5 years, because the previous one before these guys was there forever.
Yes, CRI.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Or Riggs and Ingram, yeah.
So I guess my question is, the way I read the procurement policy, this should have came to the commission. I don't know why it didn't. And if that's the case, would this make this null and void, or do we have to abide by this contract now?
I don't know that it makes it null and void. I think you can, without looking at your contract and knowing what your rights are, I don't know if you have the right to terminate it immediately and enough time to go out to bid to get a new one.
Right.
You do serve as the audit committee, so again, you have to approve that procurement document and give yourself 30 to 60 days to get a new contract in place. That's not to say you can't do that, but I don't know what your remedy is if you're in a position to terminate this now that you've already approved it or not.
Right.
You should have a termination clause. I just don't know where you are in your cycle
It
and if that makes
does.
sense to you.
See if I can find it. It says the engagement may be terminated by either party for noncompliance with the terms as noted in the engagement letter. The parties will provide 60 days notice of their intent to terminate the engagement. Yeah,
Is there a termination for convenience?
I didn't see anything in there for that.
All right, well, I don't have a copy of that contract, but I'm happy to review it and
Okay,
form an opinion on what your remedies are.
appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
I got a couple of things. Y'all should have seen an email from Michael Montgomery. Michael Montgomery he's been emailing us about Mill Bayou, about the stormwater issue out there and school traffic as well. Well, I happened to meet with him yesterday, and it was around 2:15, 2:30. So we toured what he's pointed out as the problem, and it was raining, so I got to see water flowing out of this retention onto the sidewalk, onto the road, and we talked about the remedies, and what it would be. I assured him he has a meeting with Chris, our city manager, on Tuesday morning, and I know we're working on the problem, but he's in this type of work. I think like he does some kind of work where he does big construction projects and stuff, but he's good to talk to, and he'll fill you in on the whole area. It was worth taking a drive out there to that cul-de-sac behind the school where they just just to see where they're bringing Minge Branch Road in, and to see what's set up out there. And you get a view of the apartment homes off in the neighborhood, and you could look down and I saw the traffic forming, and it was kind of a nightmare to see the cars line up. And I drove out Minge Branch Road because I didn't want to go back through the North Bay Haven traffic. And when I drove back, I looked, and it was still jammed up, so that's an issue. But the stormwater's an issue, and I think he's somebody that, needed to be heard. I reached out and I met him, and in the email he sent out, I think last night or today, he's encouraging everybody to get out there and see him. So if y'all can arrange it, that'd be great.
So this is what I'll say is, if I understand it, because I know I've been in contact with you about it, you had already been in contact with him for the stormwater stuff, right? He knows the solution. It's going to take we figured about 3-4 months before that solution takes place.
Yes, sir.
When you see that road and you see how everything lines up, and the fact that they have a median in that road, and they only have one lane on each side, and for the amount of people that's over there, those roads should be 2 lane on each side. And that median, that nice little median in the middle, I mean, it should be removed, and maybe try to make a divided highway there. So they have an open lane. I mean, honestly, if people need to get emergency services, and thank God Minge Branch Road is open, so there is a back way in, but it blocks the entrance into the side roads. The school traffic does. So I just thought that it would be insightful for you to just see it.
So I guess what I'm hearing is, I know Mr. Montgomery had emailed
Whether you
us.
meet with Montgomery or not, just try to get out there and see it.
Right. So, but I think what I'm hearing is 2 different issues.
There is.
So
There's the
with Mr.
stormwater issue and the school traffic.
Right. So, and you had some quick, I guess, comments about the stormwater issue.
Well, no, I already said that. We already have a solution for it. It's just going to take some time to fix. But the thing I was going to say is I have no problem meeting with him. I just wish that he would be a little more respectful and professional with our city staff.
I don't know any dealings he's had with our city
But
staff.
you've seen all his emails.
Yeah, I've seen his emails. Yeah, I've seen his little video too.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have been out there. I've looked at it, and that's when I called Chris, and I was driving around.
You can people handle things differently. I can talk face to face with him. I'm not mad at him.
I'm not mad at him
He's got
either.
an issue, but you look like you're mad right now.
No,
You do. You're mad because he spouted off. People can let people.
Fine.
They got to let the steam out.
You catch
That's what
more
we listen
flies with
to.
honey than you do with vinegar, right?
Right. That's why I went out and saw him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Can I interject
Be a
something here,
bully.
too? When that whole thing took place years ago, it was going to be a nightmare from the get-go because of the way they have to go in to the school, turn around, and the poor people who live behind that school. We had a meeting out there. It was so horrendous. If anybody has a heart attack or anybody gets hit by a car, I feel sorry for them behind there because there would be no way for emergency to get through there. And as I understand it, they're now starting to give tickets to those who are parked double along there where a vehicle can't even come through.
It's hard not to be. I know it's 2 lanes as you come in, but then once you pass the school, it's
And
1
come
lane.
around. Yeah.
And they're backing up on both sides for drop off and pickup.
And at one point, I was under the impression they were talking about putting another entry along the left side of the school.
Even if you, I mean,
So now Chief has been in contact with the HOA out there. So we did have the president of the HOA contact us, and several residents have contacted. I directed them to Chief Ramey, and he followed up with them, as well as I know we have a response from Deputy Chief Infinger in regards to the HOA and the residents there. So, Chief.
And yesterday, we went out, myself, Deputy Chief Infinger, and one of the traffic unit supervisors, and met with the school. And so ultimately, you have 2,000 students that are trying to leave that campus in a very short period of time. I did make several recommendations to them, because when you look at Lynn Haven Elementary, they release at 2, and then you got Mosley High School releases at 3, and then you have Mowat at 3:30. That's not happening at North Bayhaven. They're dumping them at 2:30, another 15 minutes right behind them, and then high school 15 minutes later. So you're trying to clear that whole campus with that small artery in such a short time. Their chief complaint was the traffic light. And so yesterday, I reached out to the traffic division at the county, and they agreed to add some time in the afternoons to try to clear that road you're referring to, Ms. Tender, because the parents are sitting there waiting. And then again, it's to the point where it's a nuisance because you can't get in, you can't get out, you can't get emergency vehicle in or out. So we did come up with recommendations to include, to maybe let the elementary students out at 2 to mirror the other elementary schools to give more time, a shift. And I was told that they're a charter school by their principal, and ultimately they can't do that. So I don't know if maybe we approach their board about that, but that's one of the solutions that I see, is if they'll release at 2 instead of 2:30, that'll give the middle, or the elementary kids and parents out of there, then the middle school kids can come in and the high school kids can leave. We've done everything we can to make suggestions, like we have at Deer Point. We were able to rectify that problem, mow it's better. But everything that we have suggested has fallen on, we can't do that.
See, and that's too bad because that's a good suggestion.
Yes, ma'am.
15 minutes. I mean,
That's all it takes, Ms. Tender. We clear
Yes.
mow it in the afternoons in about 22 minutes. So that's where, again, whatever we can do, but yesterday we did meet with the staff to try to come up with a solution. And so I want to monitor what they did in the traffic division with that light to try to extend it. But again, you're dumping 2,000 kids, I repeat that, in a matter of, and they think from 2:30 to 3:40 is a good time, but you're dumping mow it in 22 minutes and getting all their students out of there. So that's locking that entire Mill Bayou down for an hour and 10 minutes.
You might want to talk to the county about Mowat, the light on 77 where you turn left, coming down Mowat. A citizen was on the phone with me yesterday. I had just pulled back up here to meet with Jared, and I finished my meeting at Mill Bayou, and I'm on the phone with a citizen who is giving it to me about the traffic at Mowat because it was backed up on 390, and then he went through and he got caught in the congestion. Then he gets to the light at 77, and he's in line, and he says, Pat, I'm on the phone right now. He says, they're only letting, there you go, 1, 2, 3, 4 cars, and the light changes. 1, 2, 3, 4, turning left, and the light changes. He
Is
goes,
that for the turn signal?
yeah. So and possibly, I don't know what the timing is on 390, but he said cars were out on the road at 390 yesterday, but we're on the phone. I said, I bet you there's a police officer out there. He goes, one's pulling up right now. So, and he doesn't look happy. So
Well, we're there every afternoon.
I know.
If Chris can maybe reach out to them. I know the lights on 77, they just resync them.
Yep.
So it's not just a matter of pushing a button and saying add 9 seconds here. They have to sync that entire corridor. So
yeah, it's a little tougher, but they probably need to let them out, at that time, because what they do on that side affects people coming in on 390.
We'll pass that on to the county.
All right. Thank you. Any other pertinent matters that need to be brought before us?
I had just one last thing. As you guys know, during this last year appropriations, we had 3 things that passed the State House and the State Senate. Out of the 3, 2 of them were vetoed by the governor's office, and we got the fire truck appropriation. And this is the part I don't know if you guys are aware of or not, but I had a few people come to me, and I actually confirmed this. This is actually true. The governor's office, the reason they vetoed them, and we were the only city out of all the cities in Florida that they vetoed, because they lost trust and faith in the city of Lynn Haven. And there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. Even the fire truck, I heard the fire truck, we weren't even supposed to get that, and somehow that slid through. So I had a sit down with Griff Griffiths. I plan on having a sit down with Mr. Trumbull. I'm trying to get a meeting with someone else to try to reestablish that relationship with the governor's office so that next appropriation, that doesn't happen again, because those other two, we had that one for the sewer plant in Southport, and the other one was for paving roads. And it would have been really nice to get those. That would have helped us out a lot.
We normally get the roads every year, too.
Yes, yes.
I mean, if you look at the track record on that, we were getting $1 million a year.
Right. So the reason I bring it up, if you got any tools in your toolbox, anybody that you know that might have a connection with the governor's office that you could have a sit down and explain, hey, this is what we're trying to do in Lynn Haven, to try to reestablish that relationship. I think it's vitally important. Like I said, I had to sit down with Griff. Griffiths had a really long, great conversation with him. I'm hoping next week to sit down with Mr. Trumbull, but I just want to make sure you're all aware of that maybe you got some people that, you know, can have influence in what happens up there in the governor's office.
All right. Anything else? All right. We'll take, how long will it take you to set up?
Can we have 5 minutes?
Okay, cool. We'll be back at, let's say 9:15.
Thank you.